Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and we are graced with a new chapter and probably the last of this year. So,
Mhm.
we are going to be reviewing One Piece manga chapter 1103. This is the Galley La Podcast. I'm Akainu Fanboy. The other guy is Geboss. Please like and subscribe if you have not, and please leave your comments on what you think about our feedback and review, and also what your thoughts on the chapter was itself. We love hearing from you. So to start it all off, we have a cool color spread. Yamato still lingers with us to this day. Wano just won't go away.
Okay, I already have a bone to pick here because I feel like Oda's teasing us with like, oh, Yamato should have been a crew member, but nah, we'll just leave her at Wano. I feel like Oda's having it both ways, even though like Momonosuke's in the background too. But
well, didn't they kind of imply like, oh, maybe one day you'll be on our ship with us too, kind of thing, towards the end of it?
But One Piece is ending in like 2 years, isn't that right?
Yeah, and I'm just glad Wano's over. Those are my thoughts, really.
Yeah.
So, because we are graced with greatness, where we see Bonnie and Vegapunk correspond, and she gets to get her 10th birthday gift, which is a sapphire necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And it's further informed that it's going to protect her in some way, if I remember correctly, right?
I thought it was just a gift.
Yeah, it's a protective charm. Yeah. That's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was just more of a superstition thing rather than, I don't know. It could maybe have like a thing with Kuma, like it has a signal that draws him here, even though he's lost his mind or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so too, and it looks like the sun, which is like, reference to Nika as well,
Mm-hmm.
too. So, I thought that was like pretty well done to like start the chapter off, especially since we just got done with the Kuma flashback, and so basically, we get, we just get a big summary of it, and that he was going to explain everything to Bonnie and everything like that. And he's apologizing, saying like, "Hey, I'm the villain," and I think like he's not a villain, but he is like responsible for at least some of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether he was being super gullible and trusting of the government. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you could say you have all the right intentions in the world, but at the same time, like, does that make you much better than like even like the absolute Justice Marines, because they have quote unquote good intentions too?
Mm-hmm.
You could say Vegapunk has pure intentions, but they're still kind of like tools of the government at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that he yeah, like you said, he has good intentions, but they ultimately end up in the heads of the government, who see fit to do with what they will with them, because the whole
over
thing,
and over again.
yeah, like the whole things with pacifistas, like they're supposed to keep like peace and everything. It's in their name, but they don't. They're used to hunt pirates, so technically it is keeping the peace, but not in the way that I feel was intended. But
yeah, and I think you could even say, like, at least with the Absolute Justice Marines, like, they have a little bit more autonomy, and they use their power with how they see fit for the greater good, while Vegapunk just basically creates weapons for like the worst people on Earth. So I think that's kind of an interesting contrast to have between those two. So yeah, kind of we get this cut right here where you see Saturn, and she say like, this is the true villain, right here. Sanji and Frankie still can't move, and we see Luffy saying, "Give me some food, some meat," right?
yeah.
And it was interesting because then we cut to Kizaru right here.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying like Sentomaru, Kun, Bonnie. So, and I think it's interesting because we see this. There's a lot we can say about this right here, but do you think it was just after the punch that Luffy triggered in Kizaru, basically? Because like, we saw Kizaru do the Nika dance, right? And the flashback and everything,
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe getting punched by Nika is kind of like bringing him back to kind of the more pure heart he had before he got up to this high of a level, you know?
I mean, I think he was still an admiral at that time because it was only 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's weird because we talked about whether or not Kizaru, like, what his true intentions are. Because he went like full force against Sentomaru when he came flying in, but I don't know, maybe it's the fact that Saturn himself is here, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize, like, maybe if like ultimately he was in charge, he could pull his punches in a way. Because like, I think he was first introduced with Vegapunk, so I'm surprised that he doesn't have anything to say about him compared to Bonnie and Sentomaru. But maybe ultimately, like, he knew Sentomaru from a kid and Bonnie also from a kid, so maybe that's...
And he had respect for Kuma too. Like, he was crying, if I remember correctly, with the whole Kuma story.
Yeah, I don't know if he was crying, but I think he was, like, he wasn't like completely heartless about it.
I think he was emotionally distressed. I think you can see it on his face a little bit. You know,
yeah.
I think he was like covering his face and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I have something to say about Kizaru later on, though. So kind of moving on right here. I have a lot to say on him later as well. You start to see the world hearing more and more about the siege going on, and you see Dragon doing a lot, making a lot of big moves right here, gonna save the day. Just kidding. And then we move on to Bonnie. I think he's literally... I think the episode came out recently where like, you see Kuma in the Kamabaka Kingdom for the first time. I think Dragon's still in that same spot. I don't think he's moved this whole time.
Oh, that's what we expect from the most wanted man in the world. And then when so we see basically Bonnie go through the Gear 5 form, and then Saturn's caught off guard with that. And Saturn's using his weird ability to make her power go away. And basically right here, he's trying to say, like, she doesn't understand the connection between Nika and that form, basically. And what I did find interesting right here, though, is Luffy's eating right here. So, yeah, I'll let you start it off right here.
So immediately it's like, well, where did all this food come from? And honestly, I've only seen talk about two potential people that make sense. The one that I think is less likely is Caribou, because I feel like it would be a repeat of what happened in Wano, where he just kind of showed up out of nowhere and it's like, hey, I have food.
And why would he put himself in harm's way like this?
Yeah. But the other person would be Kizaru, because he would be the only person that would be fast enough to get it to him and kind of get out. Because we see like, when he's talking about Sentomaru and Bonnie, he's like laying down, and then next shot we see him, he's like propped up against a rock. So theoretically he could have moved in between that span of time.
And he's not saying anything. And I'm not trying to get into power scaling, but I'm just gonna make this point that everybody said Kizaru was done and out when Luffy hit him with that hit. And now we, like, from what we can see, he's not even that greatly wounded physically. You know? And so I do agree he did get dazed 100%. I am not trying to take that away. At the same time, I think it's fair to say he's... Okay, even if he didn't give Luffy the food, but I do think he did give Luffy the food, he is overplaying the dazedness because he either just wants to help them out by staying out of it, or he's like morally conflicted right now and doesn't know what to do. Because the other Marines are like, get him, right? Mm-hmm. But Kizaru's just like, he's not even saying anything.
Exactly.
So the idea that Kizaru had this shitty of fortitude and defense is, I think, kind of disproven by this chapter. Especially if he's using his power to, without notice, to speed blitz back and forth, to give food, and to get back in a resting position. That shows like he still has a lot of fight in him.
Yeah, because there's the somebody did point out there's the one panel with Luffy shoving everything into his mouth, and at the very corner of it there's a ramen bowl which Kizaru likes to eat. So I don't know if that's reading way too much into it or what.
Well, he was eating ramen at the beginning of this arc too.
That's true.
When they first like introduced him and everything. And I think this is very trolly of Oda to do, because the last time we saw them, it was like, oh yeah, Yonko's so much clearer than Admirals. But then if you throw in like, oh well, Kizaru did get dazed, but he was kind of overplaying it just because he wanted to help out Luffy and company. And he was just kind of trolling, right? Then it just kind of relitigates the whole argument over and over again, and it's not clear who's stronger, Admiral or Yonko.
Yeah.
You know, so like that would be like a very trolly thing of Oda to do, because remember our last review before the flashback started, I was making that point. It looks like the Admirals are down bad right now, but then Oda's going to throw in something to the story to make him look even again. You know?
Yeah.
And I think this potentially might be it.
Yeah, I think so.
But Kizaru's interesting though. Interesting character.
Yeah, but what I thought was interesting was this whole thing about Bonnie's powers, because I guess it's all based on like her perception of the future, like her ability to imagine. So if she's not able to imagine like the future that she wants, like if she doesn't believe in it, she can't use the powers, because she's been she lost her thing with the Nika future, like I guess in the face of like literally like this demon creature. It's hard to think about that stuff. But I thought that was an interesting limitation to her power, because there was that when we kind of got the explanation in the flashback about her powers. I think we talked about it being like kind of overpowered, like she can literally imagine anything, and I think this is a good cap on it.
Yeah, no, those are some good points.
Yeah, and I think it might also tie into the fact that she is literally like 12 years old, and children tend to have better imaginations than adults. So,
yes.
And it could also be like a meta thing of like Oda writing as well.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because we see Kuma look like Superman in the next panel.
I was literally thinking that. Literally thinking Superman.
I mean, hey, not too dissimilar of a situation.
Yeah.
And because like Saturn's just kind of talking her down, breaking her spirit and everything, like give up all hope, and now Kuma's just literally flying out of the sky. And he just he hits the ground. The Marines are shocked, and so and we also find out simultaneously the revelation that he was the one that did the experiment on her mom, Jenny, right? Which then gave the disease to her, and again, so it's just like they're enslaved by the people who hurt them, right, and everything. So it's just this guy's just worse and worse and worse, you know. And he's just saying like, why am I going to comprehend the feelings of the insects you step on, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that really quick. So I guess people are kind of split on whether or not he's talking about himself, like being Ginny was wife number 8 to him, or just to another celestial dragon, because it's weird that it's he's specifically saying like to be wife number 8. It seems like it's like a title type thing. Like some people have even guessed that it might even be Emu. So I don't know about that, but because I feel like Bonnie would be a much would be on a much tighter leash if that were the case. But yeah, I don't know if it's Saturn either. I feel like it's just another celestial dragon. Like I think we posited that it could be Darling as well.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, because we were never specifically told, which makes you think it might be someone important later on, you know. So
yeah,
it was
those vagaries.
Yes, it was really cool to see aggro Kuma though, and they think it's like a pacifista, right? And it's like heartbreaking at the same time, you know. And it was interesting to see Saturn be like, this is a fiasco. How could possibly, you know? So he does seem like spooked by Kuma.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's because of his power, like power level, or his power, the ability to get them out of here potentially.
Yeah, it could be either one. I feel like it's more the fact that Kuma has the bomb in him. There's that possibility. There's the possibility that, like you said, he could get everyone out of here, but I don't feel like that would be the case.
What would it be the case?
That that he's afraid that he's gonna like get people out of here, because I mean, he's literally like a pacifista that's not obeying orders. Like they even said like he's not obeying the chain of command. Yeah, it's somewhere in here, I think. Yeah, our authority chip commands aren't working, so yeah, just having a pacifista with like Kuma's pawpaw powers and everything going out of control, that's like beelining for him would be threatening,
especially since Luffy's already in the process of eating all that food too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, and again, Sanji, Vegapunk still stuck, and especially like when Sanji sees a woman in danger too, like it's gonna like continue to cause him anxiety that he can't help the situation, you know. And Saturn's getting really irritated by the screeching, and so with those two explosions off to the right there, was that from Kuma's laser beams, I think?
So yeah, I did want to talk about it because my theory is that it could be Kizaru. Because he could blend in. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It's Kuma doing it, not me.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good theory. Yeah,
that he did it, because it doesn't show like Kuma using it. It shows him doing the reticle. I mean, he could have fired maybe one and then Kizaru do the other, but
yeah.
But that's how I like to read it, even if it doesn't pan out that way. I'll be proven wrong next chapter.
Well, also, I feel like Kizaru would have just shot him in the head if he was really against their side. You know? Like he's conscious, he's good to go.
Yeah.
You know?
He's like he's I feel like he's kind of playing both sides at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And you know, so she's about to like get hit right here, and that panel, man, when Kuma's taking that hit, it's just devastating, man. It's just poor Bonnie, bro.
Yeah, people have pointed out that it's like almost, it's eerily similar to the whole Ace sacrifice.
Yeah.
Scene, except Kuma can survive it.
Maybe not for now. You know, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the final panel is like, I think it's amazing because, I want to see, like the whole time, like Saturn's been in control of everything, and then Kuma's just coming to punch him with hockey, and he literally has like an oh shit moment, like look on his face.
Yeah.
Also, want to point out, Kuma's using hockey, which I think he has to consciously be using it. He has to be conscious to some point to use hockey.
Yeah, he's still there, even if it's just like a dwindling flame kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this is definitely I wasn't gonna put Kuma on the top 30 strongest characters list because he was mindless, but with this I'll have to rethink where I place him.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I did want to bring up before this ends is, where do you think the role Kizaru is gonna be if our theories are accurate about him?
I don't know, because I mean, just in these past however many chapters, I feel like before the whole flashback with Kizaru dancing is the whole crux of like where I've seen him in a completely different light at this point, because I've always seen him like firmly on the side of the government and the Navy and everything. But I don't know, just like the whole thing with the food potentially doing that, and his concern over Bonnie and Sentimaru. But at the same time, he also obeys the government like strictly.
He hates pirates.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's I don't have a concrete answer, but I'd say it's 50-50 whether or not he's actually going to join or not. I know that's a very non-committal answer, but
what do you think he's going to be, like Sword, like joining Sword and everything?
I don't know. I'm not sure, because I feel like we're kind of not misunderstanding Sword, but I think that we're like saying that Sword directly opposes the current Navy, because I think the whole thing with Sword is that they have the authority, like they've given up their they can be disavowed if they go after and they can be disavowed and they don't need permission to go after warlords, because they can be disavowed. Not warlords, Yonko. So
yeah.
So I feel like they take things in their own hands, but they don't necessarily go against the government. But yeah.
But I think there is going to be a group of Marines that will rise up against the government.
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be Sword or what, but yeah.
Because I think Kizaru would probably be one of them. I mean, we're starting to see it already. But I mean, granted, he has unclear justice at the end of the day. But, that's... Yeah, so I think there's a chance with him going on the good guy side, basically. I mean, not more like anti-villain. Kind of, not villain, but anti-villain, kind of thing.
Anti-antagonist.
Yeah, like an yeah, something like that, That's kind of where I could see them going with it. And I think it would be kind of interesting, because I think Akainu, if Kizaru were to kind of go more and more aggressively against the government, that's interesting for Akainu, because Akainu's right-hand man is basically Kizaru when you kind of look at it, And I wouldn't think, to keep this short, but I wouldn't think Akainu would go against the government for morality's sake, but kind of more like an ego predator's sake kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's kind of, you know, just being on top for the sake of being on top kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of a thought there. But yeah, so those were kind of the thoughts I got generally from this chapter, the Kizaru situation, and Admiral stocks are rebounding a little bit. They're going up on the market scale a little bit, but we'll see. But honestly, love the.
I say Kuma stocks are at the all-time high at this point.
Oh no, they're at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Oh no, this past arc, bro, for sure. Dragon stock still in the mud. You know, that's a Jim Cramer stock right there. Is the dragon stocks, you know? So that's down bad, you know. But honestly, love the chapter. Great one to end the year. And thank you everyone for like listening to our reviews throughout this year and everything. It means a lot to us for your support.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. So, any closing thoughts?
It's gonna be a long break because I feel we got the chapter early, and I think next one's gonna be probably mid to late January before we get the next chapter. But
the whole thing is, we won't be waiting as long as Kuma did for Dragon, you know, for that new chapter. So that's the bright side.
True.
So, anyways, please comment, everyone. Leave your thoughts, like and subscribe, and we will see you all soon. Peace.
See ya.